Hey, successful dropouts, if you want to be your own boss and earn money working from anywhere on your own time, then you should consider becoming a digital marketer. One of our very own successful dropouts named Seth Himes has a fantastic training program called In-Demand Career that will teach you essential digital marketing skills and how to land jobs as a digital marketer. After going through the training, his students start making $60,000 per year or more within months without needing a college degree. To find out more and take one of his free courses to see if it's something you want to do, go to successfuldropout.com/in-demand career, INDEMANDCAREER. You can also listen to Seth Himes on this podcast, actually. He's episode 64, and then he has some more recent appearances as well. This guy is the real deal. He's humble. He's smart. He knows how to provide a lot of value. He's my friend, and he's been part of our community for a long time. And even if digital marketing is not something you want to do long term, it can be a great stepping stone to that next thing. This is a skill that will always be in demand, which means you can always rely on it to make you money in a flexible way that gives you freedom to pursue other projects. I also am very pleased to announce that the Successful Dropout Bible is live, finally. The SD Bible is a free living document that answers some of the most common dropout questions, offers tools and resources for successful dropouts, and also have some personal notes, writings, and wisdom from yours truly. When I say it's a living document, I mean there are versions, and it's something that I'm going to be constantly adding to and revising as I discover new value to share with you all. But I'm super pleased that it's out now, so to go and get your copy, please head over to successfuldropout.com/Bible. Again, that is successfuldropout.com/Bible. What is up, successful dropouts? Man, it has been a while. I hope everybody who's listening to this is healthy and safe and not going stir crazy if you're in an area of the world that is quarantined right now with this virus pandemic thing that's happening. Yeah, I felt like it was a timely moment to put another episode out in light of everything that's going on right now. You know, for Tay and I and Stevie, my little family, we've been fine. For those of you who don't know, we live about an hour east of Seattle here in Washington State. So basically, you could call it the Wuhan of the U.S. Kind of one of the worst hit areas right now, Washington State in general. You know, luckily we're up in the mountains and just generally far away from people and far away from town. We're used to stocking up on a month's worth of groceries at a time because the nearest grocery store is like 45 minutes away. And we're also used to, I guess, living more of the quarantined lifestyle. So luckily, this hasn't been a huge change for us, and I'm blessed enough to be able to work from home. So is Tay for the most part. So, you know, for us, the biggest challenge is just we haven't seen live people besides our family for quite some time now, and it looks like we might be in this situation for another several weeks. Anyways, I wanted to take a moment and share something with you guys. There was some content written by a guy named Dan Sullivan, who, if you don't know, is probably one of the greatest entrepreneurial coaches out there. And he wrote this content during 9/11, when, you know, it was a much different scenario, but that was a time when everybody, at least in the US, was really freaking out, and there was a lot of uncertainty. And he put this content out, and he has re-released it over the years a few different times, and it just brought me a lot of hope and encouragement during a time like this, and I felt like it could do the same to you guys. So I just wanted to read through it and insert some of my own thoughts, but I think these 10 things will be really helpful for all of you guys to focus on, as, you know, I think things are, they're probably still going to get worse before they get better, but things will get better. And, you know, the world is going to change a bit. because of this. And again, I think these 10 things are worth focusing on during a time like this. So, number 1 is forget about yourself, focus on others. Uncertainty can drive people into themselves, making them feel isolated and helpless. The best strategy here is to go in the opposite direction, expanding your connection with others and focusing on helping them transform their negatives into positives. The more you contribute in this fashion, the less you'll need to worry about your own situation. You'll become a source of confidence for everyone else. So that's number 1. Number 2, forget about your commodity, focus on your relationships. In uncertain times, people become frightened about the viability of their commodities, the things they sell and the jobs they hold. And trust me, like this toilet paper thing, it's a great example of that, and also just stupidity, but that's another topic. A more strategic response here is to disregard your own commodity and focus on deepening the power and possibility of all your relationships with family, with friends, team members, if you have a business, with suppliers, with clients, with customers, with prospects. Every time you strengthen a relationship, the viability of your commodity will increase. And then this next point, number 3, goes along with that. Forget about the sale, focus on creating value. Most people don't like being sold to at the best of times. Yeah, let me repeat that. Most people don't like being sold to at the best of times. When times are uncertain or scary, they turn off, hang up, and slam shut. But what people want at all times is value creation. That is, solutions that help them eliminate their dangers, capture their opportunities, and reinforce their strengths. When you focus on providing these 3 solutions, the sales will naturally follow. And, personally, I can speak to this. I see a lot of companies right now doing both of these things. There's companies out there that are using this as an opportunity to peddle their products. And maybe this is in a way that's taking advantage of people, or maybe those companies are obviously desperate because this crisis is going to have a major impact, especially on the small businesses, which are in the U.S. they're the backbone of our economy. It's like we're over 50% of our jobs are, and these small businesses are just bleeding from the neck right now. So I get it, and a lot of them are just pushing products, pushing sales. And at the end of the day, that's not what people need right now. My sister was telling me a story this morning, actually, of one of her friends who had reached out. And, one of the things that can help against the, protecting yourself from infection here is vitamin D. And, you can take that through supplements and or go out and just be a solar panel in the sun, which I've been doing. We've had a streak of sunny days here, so I've been going out on the porch and just laying there. And we're up in the mountains, so we still have snow, so this is kind of a rare occurrence, so I'm trying to soak up as much sun as possible. But that vitamin D is very important, and so she had somebody reach out to her and talk to her and start asking her, do you have enough vitamin D? Do you have these supplements? And came across in a very caring, concerned, I want to provide value to you way. And so my sister was talking with her for a couple of days. And then at the very end was a multi-level marketing pitch, basically for these supplements. And it was just a complete turnoff, my sister was telling me. And what originally she had thought was genuine concern just turned out to be a sales pitch. So that's what you should avoid. On the flip side, my wife Tay she hosts yoga teacher trainings, and she had a student. She has great students come all the time, but she had a student about a year ago that came who was an herbalist and just a super sweet gal, really passionate about herbology and providing kind of natural health solutions to people. And she just recently reached out and had sent, my wife and my sister and some others a PDF she'd created on here are all these natural herbs that you can take to help combat this, and here's where you can find them. And she sent this, completely unprompted, had all this value for people. It was a great resource. And There was no sales pitch. There was nothing in there. And she has she has her own website. She has all of her own products. She sells a lot of these things she recommends, but she didn't list any of her own products there. She simply, it was pretty amazing, right? So there's just pure value that she's providing, and it's just a night and day difference. And so, and she's getting, a great response because of that, and people will go buy things from her. So there's two ways you can go about it, right? So that's number 3 is forget about the sale, focus on creating value. Number 4, forget about your losses, focus on opportunities. Things you had and may have taken for granted sometimes disappear. Some people never get over this. They keep trying to replay their old games. A better strategy is to start an entirely new game using new ideas, new energies, new tools, and new resources. As the world changes, opportunities suddenly become available to achieve far more than you ever did in the past. So, a good exercise is to sit down and think, what opportunities will come about as a result of this pandemic. And so a good thing to do is, sit down and take some time to think about what opportunities will come about as a result of this pandemic. And a good way to think about this, how I like to think about this, is what are the secondary impacts of this pandemic. So an example of that is there are so schools closed, right? Schools have closed all over the US, all over the world right now. And because of that, parents are having to homeschool their kids. So that is that's an impact the virus is having right now. A secondary impact of that, though, is going to be, I guarantee you, after this is all over, a lot of parents are going to continue homeschooling their kids. Homeschooling is just going to become that much more popular. Another one is, everybody's working from home now. And I would bet you a secondary impact of this is that a lot more companies are going to go remote, decentralized. People are going to work from home a lot more after this. The companies are going to discover it is really possible to run this company while all of our employees are working remotely, and they're going to be happier because they're at home and they have a little bit more freedom and control over their schedule. And this is totally doable. It's a quality of life improvement once you get that figured out. And I think a lot of companies long term are gonna break that lease, and people are gonna start working from home. So what types of opportunities does that present, right? And homeschooling as well. So again, number 4, forget about your losses, focus on your opportunities. And the way that I like to approach that, the framework I like to use in this specific scenario, is thinking about what are those long-term secondary impacts that this situation is going to have. Number 5, forget about your difficulties, focus on your progress. Things may not be as easy as they once were. New difficulties can either defeat you or reveal new strengths. Your body's muscles always get stronger from working against resistance. The same is true for the muscles in your mind, your spirit, and your character. Treat this whole period of challenge as a time when you can make your greatest progress as a human being. This is one that I've really taken to heart because the beginning of the year, I was traveling quite a bit. We weren't home for weeks, and because of that, it was really difficult to keep a solid routine and some really healthy habits, and those things are necessary for personal development. So one of the positive things for me about basically being quarantined at home and not being able to go see other people, or we've had to cancel a lot of travel plans, is the fact that life has slowed down a little bit, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm not seeing anybody. I don't have any plans. I'm just at home. And because of this, I've been able to get into some really strong routines and habits that contribute to my personal development. And so this is learning, this is living a healthy lifestyle, just taking more time to make healthier meals for myself, taking more time to work out, taking more time to meditate and go, walk in the woods and clear my head. I've been doing a lot more of that and been getting into some solid routines and habits, and it's been It's just been fantastic. And so this is something I'd really encourage you guys to do. If you're listening, if you're stuck at home, yes, definitely tempting to play more of those video games, watch Netflix. Trust me, I'm doing all of that too, but also use this as an opportunity to, you're not doing a lot. You don't have a lot on the schedule right now. So use it as an opportunity to build some really great self-development habits. Number 6 is forget about the future, focus on today. The future is an abstraction. It doesn't exist except as an idea. The only future that has any reality is the one you continually create for yourself through each day's contributions, achievements, and results. This is an excellent time to ignore all those experts who never saw the present circumstances coming. Focus on what you can do over the course of each 24 hours, and you'll be the only expert on the future you'll ever need. In other words, live for today, live in the present moment. This is something that's difficult for me as somebody who has a lot of ambition, who's constantly thinking about the future and what I want to build and do. It's difficult for me to not just get wrapped up in my own head and my own thoughts, thinking about, what is the future going to look like for myself, for my family, for my coworkers, my friends, as a result of everything that's going on right now. And that just can lead you down this rabbit hole of thoughts and uncertainty and negativity that doesn't leave you in a good place. So I really like this one. Forget about the future. Focus on today. Number 7, forget about who you were. Focus on who you can be. Many people define themselves by external circumstances. When these abruptly or unexpectedly change, they don't know who they are, so they keep trying to be who they used to be. From now on, take your cues from the inside, from your dreams, your ideals, your values, and your operating principles. These need never change, regardless of the circumstance. Take advantage of external confusion to become self-directed, self-managed, and self-motivated. Guys, if there was ever a time to clearly outline and review often your goals in life and your non-negotiable values, to really zero in on who you are and why you are, now is the time to do it. This grounds you. And when there's all this uncertainty going on, this is what will ground you. And so as an example, I'm happy to share some of my non-negotiable values. And these are values / affirmations that I say almost every day to myself. I have them memorized now, and I've said them for years. And these types of things are what keep me grounded in who I am, what I'm about, why I am during times of uncertainty. So I'll just share a few here. One is, I am positive. I have a positive attitude, and I think positive and empowering thoughts at all times. Another one is, I'm a man of integrity. I always tell the truth. My word is my bond. I am humble. I do not seek recognition for my actions. I have self-control. I control my emotions and my actions regardless of the circumstance. I am a leader. I influence and empower people to turn visions into reality, increasing their quality of life in the process. My priority is not being in charge, but rather serving those who are in my charge. I am a rebel. I question the status quo, identify what should change, and lead myself and others to realize that change. I am perseverant. I thrive on adversity. I never quit. I am hungry, self-confident, and ambitious. I can do or have anything in life because I have strong desire, strong work ethic, and perseverance. I am a continual learner. I am always growing and teaching those around me. And I have a few more, but those are just some of the principles that I live by that make me who I am, that I say every day. And so again, this is number 7. Forget about who you were. Focus on who you can be. And when all this uncertainty is around you, turn inward and really zero in on who you are and live from that standard. Number 8, forget about events. Focus on your responses. I love this one. When things are going well, many people think they're actually in control of events. That's why they feel so defeated and depressed when things turn bad. They think they've lost some fundamental ability. The most consistently successful people in the world know they can't control events, but they continually work towards greater control over their creative responses to those events. Anytime there is fear, uncertainty, or discomfort, it's an excellent time to focus your attention and energies on being creatively responsive to all the unpredictable events that lie ahead. I want to take a moment here and let you guys know that one of my greatest realizations has been understanding that there is a little space of time between stimulus and your response to that stimulus. And then understanding that it's in that space of time that I can choose my response. Honestly, if there was one takeaway from this whole episode, well, there should be several takeaways. All this stuff I think is gold, but this one is so powerful. Just every time there's any stimulus, think something happens in your business, or somebody yells at you, or literally anything. You stub your toe. There is a space of time, a little sliver of time between that stimulus and your response to it. And one of the coolest things you can do is capture that little sliver of time. And in that moment, flip through all the possible responses you could have to that stimulus and choose the best one. For me, this goes hand in hand with those values I said earlier, right? So the first one I mentioned is I am positive, I have a positive attitude, and I think positive and empowering thoughts at all times. And then in addition to that, I know that I have this little space and time to choose my reaction to stimulus. So if something happens at work that my initial reaction is to have a negative thought towards it, I can quickly capture that little period in time. I think back to what principles am I living by? Who am I about? Why am I? I zero in on that affirmation. I am somebody who thinks positive and empowering thoughts all the time. I choose that response, and then that's how I respond to the circumstance. And that whole process right there is such a good habit to form. Again, he says, the most consistently successful people in the world know that they can't control events. They can't control their circumstances, but they continually work towards greater control over their creative responses to those events and circumstances. So there's that. Number 9, forget about what's missing, focus on what's available. When things change for the worse, many desirable resources are inevitably missing, including information, knowledge, tools, systems, personnel, and capabilities. These deficiencies can paralyze many people who believe they can't make decisions and take action. A strategic response is to take advantage of every resource that is immediately available in order to achieve as many small results and make as much daily progress as possible. Work with every resource and opportunity at hand, and your confidence will continually grow. This is actually something I really appreciate about my wife, Tay, is that she is incredibly resourceful. It's kind of like her superpower. She has this really natural ability to, okay, XYZ needs to get done. Here are all of our available resources. How do you mix and match those to accomplish the goal? And you don't get hung up if you're missing something you think you should have. You have other assets, you have other tools and resources available to you. How can those be repurposed? How can they be reused? Or how can that goal or objective be tweaked just a little bit to fit the resources you actually have? But remember that one. Number 9, forget what's missing, focus on what's available. And finally, number 10, forget about your complaints, focus on your gratitude. When times get tough, everyone has to make a fundamental decision, to complain or to be grateful. In an environment where negative sentiment is rampant, the consequences of this decision are much greater. Complaining only attracts negative thoughts and negative people. Gratitude, on the other hand, creates the opportunity for the best thinking, actions, and results to emerge. Focus on everything you're grateful for, communicate this, and open yourself each day to the best possible consequences. I will say 2019 was the year I picked up the habit of gratefulness, and it's been one of the best shifts in my consistent mentality that just continually aids itself to a better life and more happiness. Gratitude, happiness is kind of an elusive thing. Okay, I've never seen one definition that I completely agree with. I think for everybody, it's a little different. It's subjective, but 100% gratitude is always a key to happiness. It's always a component to happiness and contentment and joy and fulfillment. And so one of the habits I have that I would suggest you guys use is I have a gratitude template, basically. Gratitude template, gratitude journal. Basically, it is a list. Actually, let me just pull it up here. Gratitude template. So it's a list of ways that I can be grateful. And every day I pick the next item on the list and I journal on it. So number 1 is list 5 small ways you can share your gratitude today. So let's say tomorrow I'm doing my daily journaling. I'll cycle through this list and maybe I'm back up to the top. So I'll see that. List 5 small ways you can share your gratitude today. So I would literally journal, here's 5 ways that I can share my gratitude. Okay, it might be saying thank you to my wife for doing something for me yesterday. It might be sending a friend a quick note about how I'm really grateful for that relationship in my life. All right, I see number 2 here is, well, that's fitting. Number 2 is write about a person in your life that you are especially grateful for and why. So the next day, I would pick that question. I would journal on that. So there's all these gratefulness templates. Let me read a few more here. What skills/abilities are you grateful to have? So you journal on that. What foods or meals are you most thankful for? How is where you are in life today different from a year ago, and what positive changes are you grateful for? What elements of nature are you grateful for and why? List 5 activities/hobbies that bring you joy. Describe your happiest childhood memory. When was the last time you laughed uncontrollably? Relive that memory, right? So again, these are all in a list, and I cycle through them every day, and I'll journal on each one of those questions, and it all lends itself towards being a grateful person. Gratitude is so key. I can't stress that enough. So that is 10 things that I think everybody listening should really be. I think the entire world should be focusing on these 10 things during a time like this. So it was good to be able to speak to you guys again. I will be back. Remember, stay hungry, stay foolish.